Shri Gurubhyo Paramagurubhyo Srimadananda Tirtha Bhagavatpadacharya Namo Namaha Narayana Paripurna Gunarnavaya Visvodaya Stititolaya Niyadi Prataya Jnana Prataya Vibhuda Sura Saukya Dukkha Satkaranaya Vidadaya Namo Namaste Yo Vipralimba Viparithamati Prabhudan Vadan Rasyakritavan Bhuvidatvavadam Sarvesvaro Haririti Pratipatakam Tam Ananda Tirtha Munivaryam Namami पूज्याय राघवेन्द्राय सत्यधर्मरताय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनुवे सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Welcome friends, we are again on to our inexorable journey of Kathopanishad. We have seen, because last three mantras and last two mantras, and we are about to see the last mantra in this series of the particular segment of the second adhyaya, second chapter. This is supposed to be explaining the answer for the third question, the inexorable and the one and the only third question that remains to be the pursuit of any philosophy in this world as to what remains after this body is left, or cessation of the body takes place. That is what, because we have been trying to see. And in fact, Yama is trying to answer the third question, which he has been trying to give all the preludes and preempting any of the unwanted doubts that may arise, so that to ensure that finally when he gives the answer, the Nachiketa, or in the form of Nachiketa, through Nachiketa, all of us are able to understand what is that we need to understand the highest truth of the life. The truth of the life, what is that? Because always, all religions are trying to find the ultimate truth. Because that is what is being recited, because in the lot of Gospels as well as in the Shastras also they say, because ekam satyam bahuta vadanti vipraha, in the sense, because they are trying to explain different ways to sort of explain the same truth and through different means, because depending upon the cultural as well as the attitudinal and the thought-provoking, the impact that may be having in different parts of the world and different parts of the time, that has been tried to attempt that. So in this context, only we find what is the truth. Normally, what is the truth, we try to be happy with this, because if we know something already, if someone says, someone repeats that, because it gives us a satisfaction, and that is validation of what we already know becomes the truth for us. But that is not exactly the Upanishad is trying to attempt. What you are knowing, because when you are trying to question yourself, because unless you are able to question yourself, your beliefs as by virtue of your experience, and by virtue of the experience, what you learned from the experience, if you are able to again, find out, what you have what you have experienced and what is happening to you in terms of your own personal sort of a elevation in terms of thinking and feeling and the mindset, what we talked about last week. If you are able to get the highest possible mindset, with the human, the existence can bring about, because that's what we are trying to attempt at. So this is exactly, because the last three mantras are trying to explain. We have seen the 2.2.6, where the Yama is trying to tell him, because hantata idam pravakshami guhyam brahma sanatanam. I am trying to tell you the ultimate truth. The guhyam, the secret. Secret in the sense it is not the secret, it is so subtle. The so subtle a thing, you will not be able to sort of grasp it, because unless you have all these cobwebs removed and you have become sponge enough to absorb whatever has been told to you. That's what Guhyam. Guhyam is not something secret. In fact, there is a book called Secret Doctrine, written by Helena Blavatsky, who was the founder of the Theosophical Society, because who brought Theosophical Society to India and who was part of the Theosophical Society in US and elsewhere. And she has written a book called Secret Doctrine. The Secret Doctrine is trying to sort of bring about, some sort of a some sort of a reconciliation between the philosophical. It is an attempt to bring a reconciliation between the philosophical and scientific truth, because what the human society has been understanding, try to bring about, and in terms of the scientific knowledge, because trying to explain the philosophical concept was an attempt in that secret doctrine. It is a monumental work because it could have been, it has got a variety of sort of a views and a variety of critics are there, but then the book remains some sort of a beacon, for those who want to understand and develop their thinking in terms of understanding the scientific discoveries and philosophical truth, though they are parallel lines. Is there any meeting? If not meeting, at least you will be able to find some conjectures as how you can proceed to be, because giving an explanation in terms of scientific terms to philosophical thoughts, or you philosophize the scientific discoveries in terms of what the philosophies has brought about, for your own development. It is nothing to do with the destruction or other purposes and all. Because in that context, it is a unidirectional, but then it is bringing about the multidimensional thought to a level where we will be able to have an understanding and bring about in simpler language, even anyone who is familiar with day-to-day life is able to understand. So here also he is telling, Hantata idam pravachyami guhyam brahma sanatanam. I am trying to tell you, in as much as you try to understand the secret or the subtlest of the things. So when you have to understand the subtlest of the things, already he has given you enough prelude and he has prepared us to give up, because lot of our luggages, so that because by now we should be able to absorb this knowledge. That's what he's saying. Yatacha maranam prapya atma bhavati gautama. So as finally you wish to know what, because when finally the body seats, what happens to the soul? Body, of course, the body will go into the all five elements, and what happens to the soul is nothing. What we call the soul is the bundle of impressions, which we have created. How we have created every thought and every act, what we do in this world creates an impression on this mind. And what we call this samskara, the accumulated summum bonum, the entire sum total of the impressions that has been created in our mind is finally the samskara of us individually, the personality. It sort of defines the personality, it defines the samskara of this particular mind, body, and intellect. So it determines what type of sort of the future, or what type of a thing is likely to take place later. So this is what exactly we learn to be, because every time when we have a thought, it creates an impression on our mind. And because every time we do an act, that also creates an impression of our mind. And but how they create, because it is then, it is coming out in terms of your feelings. Because thought may be suppressed, because by with your ability to sort of trying to practice, the ability to control your thoughts. But you will not be able, and if your act is also controlled by your thought, because then you will be able to regulate the act also. But then all these things should result in non-reaction. You should not be able to, you should be sort of able to take every act and without having to react to anything. So once you have that, then you have attained some sort of stability of regulating thought, and you are able to pursue your life in this world. So this has been brought about, and I think we will see, as we go about, because why this thought and feeling, they come to that, which we discussed last week, which is finally the mindset, because the mindset is the one finally determines what type of, because with the mindset that remains with us, at the end of the cessation of the body, and then that determines, what type of birth, or what type of a future, what type of a development that takes place for the soul. Whether it's able to liberate fully, or it is destined to again take a birth, or if it has to be written, will it be again be able to take a human form? That is the question. It's not necessary all of us are having been human beings, we never to be born again as a human being. It depends upon the samskara, the sum total of the impressions that has been created in our mind by our act and thought. That is going to be the determinant. And that is, because what we discussed in mindset earlier, because it is the feeling and as well as the thought together. And that what it is, it is a sync between your intention and action. And then when both, all of them are together, when they are able to create sort of a delightful combination of result, then, because whatever happens is not only sort of bring about happiness to you, it brings about happiness to all the people, who are affected by that. Because it has a ripple effect. It just spreads. It is infectious. So it overflows. So this is what we have seen. So it has been explained by that 2.2.7, the mantra what you have seen in your page number 111. Yonimanye prabhadyante shariratvaye dehinaha sthanam anye anusamyanti yata karma yata shrutam. So entering, because it's not necessary that we may have to take the human form. Depending upon, because it's our mind, is because our deeds decide. No one else. The merit of our deeds decide, what type of manifestation that soul takes. So when it decides like that, it need not necessarily be, we may be taking some other form, animal form, or we may be taking, because supposing even in a sort of a sort of plant, because we could become a mineral also. Because we are inanimate, because we become insentient thing. It depends upon 84 lakhs sort of creatures are being described in our Shastras. We could take anything, animate or inanimate, mobile or immobile, chara, achara, and all those things, we may be able to. It depends upon the deeds. Basically, it is left to us. There is nothing. Only the consciousness or the Paramatma gives you the life energy to do, which is finally the life energy. The life energy is finally being, you can just conclude as the one which comes through your breath. The breath is the guru. The breath doesn't differentiate, whether you are a saint or a sinner or you are a president or a pauper or you are a farmer or you are a capitalist, you are some sort of industrialist, because you are the billionaire, or it doesn't differentiate. It is to everyone. It is even to the man, who is in the deathbed also, the same breath is there, and the man who is walking is also there, because it is the one finally takes care. As long as you are aware that it is the one, which is taking care of you, through which the life force comes in, then you will be able to focus. That is how the meditation, yoga, and all of them bring about our awareness to the fundamental reason for us to be alive is the breath. The breath is in fact the guru. That is why, some of the philosophies like Tattvavada says Vayu Jivottama. In the sense, he is the one. Without him, and he creates the body functions. He regulates the body function in terms of prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana, because which we have discussed earlier, how he regulates the distribution of energy, how he regulates, because the purification of the blood and oxygenating the entire, giving the life force, into the body, and as well as the necessary, because the energy to the flesh and muscles and the nerve nodes, how Ida Pingala and they're all being, and finally, the Sushmana Nadi, through which, finally you are able to get the highest transcendence. The transcendence, whatever you call Raja Yoga, Kundalini, and all of them, to the Sushmana Nadi, it takes place. And then all these things are being taken place through the chakras. The 7 chakras are there, but the 6 chakras are the one, which finally it comes, and the 7th chakra is Sahasrara, just above the crown. Through finally, when you get the highest transcendence, because it is that particular chakra, which will be activated, it is just about few inches above, it is 6 inches. Sahasra Sisha Sirasa Sahasrabad Sabovim Visvato Vritva Atyadishta Sasangulam. Just about 10, because times of it, 10 inches in the sense it is taken 10 your fingernail, because the thumb, that is the level, above which Sahasrara is there. In fact, through Sahasrara only, the life force is supposed to come in. And finally, it is supposed to be leaving through that one. When you get the final redemption, when you get the samadhi and all, it's all through Sahasrara. So this is what we have seen so far. And in that, because we have also seen, why this karma and knowledge. This is the first stage, because for this, the last question, he gives the answers in two different segments. One, he gives, because depending upon the act and thought and deeds and mindset, finally you will be getting into the mode in which it is. It is nothing but, whatever has been said in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita also says, because in the chapter 8, 8.5, the mantra says, Antakale cha mamev smaran muktva kalevaram. In the sense at the end of the life, Antakale, the last minute, before the cessation of the body takes place, cha mameva smaran muktva, who is remembering me, the life force, who says, the highest, because your thoughts are focused on me. Kalevaram, when the body is about to leave, prayati yat madbhavam yati nas tatra samshaya. Because there is no doubt you will be able to get my nature. Nasti atra samshaya. Antakale cha mam eva smaranmukta kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nasti atra samshaya. Because there is no doubt you will be. But then, what is that? How will you be able to remember and all? What is that? Gita says and all. And someone says, because Krishna is so clever, man, he says at the last minute, remember me. You don't know the last minute. The last minute could be any time now. Now or 10 years or even 20 years or 50 years hence. You don't know. So in that case, you better start doing right now. So that, because whenever it comes, because you just conform to what he says. Antakale cham mam eva Sparan Mukva Kalevaram, because then I will be fully remembering him at that point of time, the highest, because so that my thought and my action and all my mindset, everything will be focused on the deeds, which is supposed to be mindful based on what I have to excel and what is my duty to do, because Swadhyaya, because I will be focusing on that, I will be able to do. Finally, I will be able to get. This is what has been propounded in this mantra also. Same thing has been said in Bhagavad Gita. And the same point has been said. And so now he comes, because that is when you just want to know, when the first part of the answer is being given. Because when you don't know, because what is happening and all, because how the rebirths, because it is giving the concept of reincarnation, theory of rebirth. It is unique to this part of the continent, because basically the Sanatana Dharma as well as the Jainism and Buddhism, they have also accepted this rebirth concept, which is not uh, available in the Abrahamic religions, because other Western religions also, because whatever happens to you is happening in this birth only. So if you are going to be transcending yourself, that is in this very birth, and if you are going to be condemned forever, that will also be going to be in this birth. So the idea is better be a good person in this birth, because that is what the focus is. All the religion want to focus you and bring about a positive and a productive attitude in you, so that you are able to live like a human being and as a citizen of the world, and as well as the fellow being to all animate, inanimate, and to your environment. You will be able to sort of you will be able to have a wonderful life, without having any conflict with any of the things. So that is why, because this particular thing, which is being repeated again and again, is you should not have any conflict with any of the creatures or any of the beings or any of the inanimate or animate. It should be resonating. When it is resonating, you will be in sort of the entire, the hallmark of happiness, spreads all over. And when it spreads all over, because when you are doing something, it's not only you are going to get the benefit of it, the benefit is going to overflow to others. Because there is no conflict. Conflict of interest is not there. You are working, because in line, you have got a concern for others. The conflict, because if you really want to say is in positive terms, you are concerned with everything, concerned with the fellow beings, concerned with the environment when you are acting. You become a soul, because what is being said in Bhagavad Gita also, Antakalecha mameva smaran bhuktva kalevaram yap prayati sa madbhavam yati nasti atra samshayah. Because there is no doubt, it will happen. So this is what has come about, and now having come to the second part of the answer comes. Once you have understood all these things, and once you have understood, because how you have to change your attitude, how you have to be, because developing an attitude to get into the highest mode of transcendence and see that, because able to have your journey towards the redemption or the highest elevation. Redemption is nothing but the highest elevation, the status, in which, you will be able to get yourself, the purpose of the birth, when you have come, you have understood, you have got the treasure trove of knowledge, which you have gathered all together, because they have all combined together with several births. They are all being put into use, because that is the reason you have come into this world. Now, with this current act, because where you will be able to have a concern for others, resonating with others, living in harmony with others, then you become a mentor of not only that, you are a sort of the path of peace, not only to you, towards others also. So in that process, you are not going to be, you will be acting, because once you come into this world, it's not that, because be all and end all, you cannot be procrastinating and sitting idle and all. You will have to act. Even if a saint has to act, he has got certain duties to do. Wherever you are there, you will have to manage the things, you cannot be sitting idle. So when you are doing that, once you have understood the world, what is throwing at you, because what is giving you, because every minute, is a sort of you will have to act in the sense, every minute, you are being tested. So when you are being tested, because you are able to act effortlessly with your development, you will be able to understand the world and you will be able to live happily in this wonderful world. But every time, when you are tested, you are halting and faulting and wobbling and all, then the world will become a very difficult place. What a treacherous world I have come into, because that's what it means. Whether the world is wonderful or treacherous depending upon your development. So this is exactly the Upanishad says. Why don't you make, because you are able to see the world as a wonderful world, because you should understand, what the world is offering to you and what you should take. When you are taking, going to take in how you are going to take, you are going to take it with concern for others, without any conflict, and you are also going to harmonizing, because you will be resonating with all others, because with their sort of requirement and expectations, without having any conflict, and finally living in harmony with everything. That the final harmony, how the sun has been shining all over the continents, despite the fact whether it is northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, or because it is giving the same sunshine, and it doesn't bother, because but then because you go through that, and because people who are able to take it and live in harmony, they have got a wonderful place. People do you are not able to live in harmony by how this happiness index has been defined. The happiness index in the Scandinavian countries are the highest. Why it is not so high? Because in the other parts of the world, because there is no harmony, and in fact, because there is no, people are not resonating themselves. There is always a conflict. When you are living in conflict, because now we are seeing so many conflicts that has taken place. It is all, because how it is a man-made conflicts. How man-made conflicts is the man's mind-made conflicts. You think, you are going to be a victor. There will not be. It is a sum total of everything is there's not going to be any victor. There's not going to be any vanquished. It is only we in our mind we will be a victor and vanquished. Once you understand that, because there will not be any conflict whatsoever, and you will be having a concern for others, and you will be living in harmony in whatever be the situation you are putting into, in whatever be the continent and whatever be the context. This has been brought about now, because this mantra, what we will be telling, that is the same thing, because what is the reason how we should be able to do. It is giving the sort of a technique how to do it. So it is the 2.2.8 in the page 112. It says, Ya yeshu supteshu jagriti Kamam kamam purusho nirmimana. Tadeva shukram tad brahma tad eva amurtam uchyate. Tasmin loka shrita sarve tatu natyeti kaschana. Etat vai tat. Eshu sukteshu jakriti. See what happens, because when we are having all the thinking turmoils and troubles, because in thinking, because we do have variety of things going on in our mind, as long as you are not able to understand, because the facade of challenges that is being thrown every minute at you, you are trying to react, and because you are trying to find, this is how I will be able to ward over, I will be able to win over, I will be a victor. I will always be a victor in anything. I will achieve success. Success is going to be mine. With success, happiness is going to be mine. That is where, it will take you to take you to a different direction where you will find everything to your surprise. So it says there is no victor, there is no vanquished, there is no success, there is no distress. It's all happening once you understand the ways of the world, once you understand, because when you have to act, you will be able to master the living. But when you are not able to understand, you are also trying to react every time to be a victor or something like that, you will be succumbing to the conflict and the consequences of the world. That is how suffering comes. But do you mean to say then, because that doesn't mean, should I not do, should I be only be accepting what? No. Go by, because by development, every minute, because you are doing it, you will be able to get to the best. For the 5 minutes before what you have thought, after 5 minutes, because now you're getting a new knowledge, from someone or by reflecting yourself, you get that becomes a new knowledge. It gives you further improvised. Because we were not using mobile phone 15 years before. Now one mobile phone has come. We have also experienced the use of the mobile and we may find out, because it is useful to us, but we should use it as it is required for our services and our own benefits. But we should not get succumbed to the, because looking at the mobile or only be going by whatever the mobile phone says, because then whatever you are being taken out. That is what, the first mantra said, Paranchikani Vyatarnat Swayambhuhu. Tasmat Parang Pashyati na Antaratman. Because once it takes away, all your attention, your focus and all, where is the question of, your own getting, because the harmony where you are getting the sort of a resonance with others, your own sort of a without any conflict and all. You should use it for information transaction. You have to send the information, get the information, and then you don't go by because this becomes a medium for so many other things, and it becomes a sort of a profession, who are trying to take your attention. The world is always trying to take your attention, take your faculty, take your intellect. When you are bartering your intellect, when you are bartering your sort of the gift of God, which is given to you, by instead of elevating, you sort of succumb and defray it, in all these inane things. And finally, you will not be able to get what you want. So that everything you will have to use appropriately as you need it. Then, because it gives, after a mobile phone gives you the internet and you've got the Google and you've got the, if you don't know anything and you can get the information on that, take it and all. But that's all, because don't get, because it will always entice you to get into something else. They say, because how to look good, how to look bad. Because, we have already seen the first mantra of the second chapter said, you are not the body, very, very clearly said. So when it is very clearly said, why you are not a body, because then it said the Ekadashapuram. So it's 11 gated city. Ajasya Avaktra Cheshasha. Because it has been created by, he is the master kingdom, and we have, it is a city, and we are a resident in the city. That's all. Once the resident in the city, because once we are resident, because like, you are being transferred from one place to another, when you are being transferred from this body to something else, because based on, whatever your eligibility and what your impression, thoughts and mindset and has determined, you will be taking it. This is not going to be there. But now what happens, because now you see in the news, so many people are trying to weight loss drugs to look young, because they have been taking so many medicines and taking this body as to be sort of a reference point by which, this entire You will be judged, and finally you will be getting the benefit, and you will be a victor, and you will not be a vanquished. And when you take, because the concept, which is totally sort of not in consonance with the fact, as has been brought out by this Upanishad, then, because you will be trying to do everything, finally the body that can't, survive all these things. The body has got the limitations, but the soul doesn't have the limitations. It is always time immemorial, and it has got to live. It is here, it is going to be there. Bhuta, Bhavya, Bhavishya, all are there. So it is Bhutaha, it is Bhavishyaha, Bhavati, it is also now here. So therefore, this is what they say, because the Purusha remains awake while we are asleep. When we are indulging in all these worldly affairs, when we are able to productively utilize the world and understanding the world, and you are able to master living in this world, then you will be always awake. Jagratastham. You are Jagrata, you are awake. That's why arise, awake. Sleep not, when Vivekananda said, it's not that, the normal sleep and all. When you are even waking stage, you should be awake as to what you need to do and all, what is good for you. What is good for you, will necessarily be good for others. It's not that, it's only good for you. There is nothing in this world which is only good for you, not good for others. If there's a good for X, then it will be good for Y also. So once you have that attitude which is good for everyone is my goodness, because once you take that, you will have to act, and you will be acting it. So that is what, we have seen that great mantra in the first, because Adhyaya in the third chapter itself. They say, arise, awake, stop not till you get the goals reached. That's what we Uttishta, Jagrata. When he said, because get up, you get up from your sleep, you understand. Like, because so many balls will be bowled at you, because as a batsman, but you will have to play the ball depending upon the merit of the ball. You should not be playing every ball as it comes. Then, you will not a batsman, because you will have to be a consummate batsman, will know, which ball to hit and which ball to be blocked and which ball to be taken out, because, he will leave it. He knows. Likewise, once you understand, that is by experience. Your experience is the master. And when the experience, when it is being brought, because how, your entire focus comes in the life first comes. Yes, Yesha Sukteshu Jagrati, the Purusha remains awake while we are asleep. When we are engaged in this world and all, but he just sees what is there. And it has also got another interpretation. But when the birds, the cessation of the body sing, and he is, because it's depending upon your, you have created your own eligibility of, which body to get in. He is preparing the circumstances good for you. Which womb you will have to be reborn if you are to be born. If you are to be liberated, because what type of a liberation? The highest liberation, because in the Sanatana Dharma is finally, because you reach the liberation, you don't have to be sort of getting to because finally there's a Shukla Gati, because it is something like, the getting into the world of, womb, Buhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Suvaha, because the one, which is highest, where the sun's place, or otherwise the interstellar place, spatial. And because likewise, and in the sense, it is all a relative term. Relative term in the sense, more you are able to get into the stage, because then you are not going to have anything as me or mine, and then you are going to live in harmony without any sort of a without any sort of a conflict with others, resonating, because in everyday life with everything that is available within your capacity and within your circumstances, that is good enough. You don't have to think about anything. Once you be mindful and do what is good and what is ethically your side, and as you are developing every day and all, what is the highest what you have got, you will have to do that. And he says, yes, Sukteshu Jagrati, and because once you get awake, because Purusha is always awake, because he is trying to wake you up. But if you are not able to, while we are in sleep, we are in sleep in the sense when we are being indulged, when we are taken into the worldly affairs, we are in sleep. Once we understand, because what is that we need to do in spite of, so many challenges every minute that comes about, and once you try to regulate, you slowly goes towards maybe you become awake. Awake, has to, how do you, because of his, because he is always awake. And he is trying to take you out, and he wants to give you the best. But if you are refusing to take the best, what he can do? Why you are repeating Kamam Purusho Nirbhimana? He shapes the countless objects of our desire. See, lot of objects of desire that comes. You have to understand what is these objects of desire, why it comes. First, we will have to understand consciousness and what is being talked about, because in our philosophy, particularly in Advaita, and, because Buddhism and others and all, consciousness is not the mind. Mind is not the sensations. We think the mind sensations are different, because the sensation cause their causative factor, for the all the love, anger, detesting, dislike, everything, because what is that we have already seen. Sabdasparsha Ruparasa Gandhaha. Sabdasparsha, what you hear, Sabdas in words, Sparsha, because the touch feel, Rupa, because the form, because you get attracted to someone you detest, because he doesn't look, because he's not presenting himself, he's not worthy, because yeah, my ordinary man, will not be taken as a film star, and he'll have to have some facial this one, bodily this one, and all, his ability to deliver the dialogue and all those things are there. Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, Rasa, and your taste decides in what type of a taste. You like some people, or you like some food. All that rasa, gandha, and smell. And you want, because the ambience should be so, all these rose and sandalwood and all those things. Because you will not be going into the wildflowers, because there is no smell and it is all, because dormant. You don't like that. And that's why, you put all these gadgets, nowadays to give smell in your car and the smell in your house and incense sticks, you do all those things. Yes, it's all good. But then, because they are all required to keep the place so fulfilled so that you are able to focus mindfully onto the things which is in front of you with full attention. Nothing more than that. Kamam Purushodin, he shapes the countless objects of desire. If you are getting lost into that, once you are able to regulate, once you are able to understand, because you are able to master dealing with this every time, every minute that comes, because you don't be, because watching only, you don't go and buy everything that is coming in the TV ads. They are trying to entice you, buy this, even there is a no need for you, they are trying to create a need because that's their job. So you will be able to go that and Dateva Shukram, and then he tries to say, why, because why it is all being said? Because when he is awake, or whoever is called the Brahman, Paramatman, he is Tadeva Shukram. He is pure, purest, pristine, pure. Shukram in the sense he doesn't have anything to feel sorrow and all this. Sorrow is not there. Ashokavanam, like Shokasya Nasam Ashokam, like that. Tadeva Shukram, Tad Brahma. See, that is what is called Brahman. He is the pristine pure, ultimate pure. Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham, Saswatam, Divyam, Adidevam, Ajam Vibhum. That is what Bhagavad says. Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan. He is the highest. There is nothing more pure than that. It is like that. Tad Brahma, Tateva, Amritam Uchate. It is the final sort of immortal, everlasting, Sanatana is. That we have already seen. So Brahma Sana, Guhyam Brahma Sanatanam, because he is the Sanatana. Tasmin Loka Shrita, because in him, that means Loka Shrita, in all the worlds. That is, when the Shvarupa is there, all the worlds are inside him. All the creatures are inside. Tasmin Loka, he alone is immortal, in him rest all the worlds. Tasmin Loka Shrita Sarve, Tadiyo Atyeti na Kaschana. There is none who can transcend, means the ultimate limit. As you see the limit of, whatever our thinking and whatever, because it's the entire universe and all, he is the ultimate limit. Beyond him, nothing else is there. This has been said. And then this is verily that. That means once you know, these are all the context in which, because you will be able to get your further transcendence And further, because elevation of the soul, which has been given an opportunity in this birth, you will be able to, "Etat by tat," this is that. They said that, and we will also be getting into, because the few more, with the illustrations as to how it has been exemplified in our scriptures, we will see. With this, I will try to contribute today's sessions. Sahana Vavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavadidamastu ma Vishvidavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.